Live from WTEN in Albany, this is News 10 at 5.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Tracy Egan, live at the WTEN Healthy Lifestyles Expo at Hudson Valley Community College, where all day long we've been helping Capital Region residents connect to healthier living right here in the Capital Region. Coming up, we're going to talk about bloodless surgery, going to show you how kids had great fun and a better connection to better living a little bit later on. But right now, we toss back to John McLoughlin in the studio with the news of the day. John.
Okay, Tracy, we're back to you in just a few minutes. In the news today, a Hoosick Falls man has done it before. Police say he's done it again, and now he's behind bars. The accusation, molesting young girls and videotaping it. News 10's Jennifer Leake reports.
Inside this Lyman Street home, Hoosick Falls police say young girls were molested and videotaped. Now, 39-year-old William Losaw is jailed on several sex charges.
Over the past year, he's been touching them inappropriately. Hopefully we'll get the word out, see if any contact's been made by other people. Sergeant
Paul Davendonis says Losaw probably molested more than just the two girls they know of. Losaw has been arrested before on similar charges, and neighbors say they've seen him in the act.
He likes to molest kids, and he likes photographing kids, and he's always trying to give the girls around town hugs and everything, and he's always checking girls out.
Ashley Landrigan says a few of her friends were molested by Losaw, so she expected he'd get caught.
It doesn't surprise me at all. His kids are happy. I'm happy. Parents feel better, and I'm just glad he's put away.
Jessica Wilwall says Losaw videotaped her playing with friends in front of his house.
He used to say hi to me and stuff, and I didn't think anything about it, but I don't know, I just stayed away from him as much as I could because he just scared me.
Losaw is jailed on 6 charges, but Hoosick Falls police are working with state police and the DA's office to bring more. Investigators want to hear from anyone with information about other possible victims. Live in the newsroom, I'm Jennifer Leake for News 10.
Jennifer, that earlier arrest, not enough to get him onto the sex offender registry?
Not enough. He has a long rap sheet, similar things, but not enough to get him any prison time and not enough to get him on the sex offenders registry because you have to be a level 3 offender or be pretty bad to get on that, and he's just had little minor offenses so far, but the same sorts of things.
Thank you, Jennifer Leake reporting.
Sure.
Well, one Albany man is dead, another in custody tonight. Both are 21 years old, and the murder happened in broad daylight. Brian Duchesne of Albany South End, charged with second-degree murder in what was an ongoing feud with the victim. That man is Antoine Jeffers, killed in Crank Park about 8 o'clock this morning. 2 Albany city workers heard gunshots, and Jeffers was found face down, shot twice in the chest. Police spent the rest of the day tracking down a suspect.
Short time ago, Albany City Police Department divers recovered the weapon that we believe was involved in the shooting. It was recovered from a pond in Route County Route 143 in the town of Ravenna.
Young people are killing themselves. They're not even living to a ripe old age. They're taking each other's life. I remember when kids used to fight, 2 days later they speak, and now they want to take each other off the map.
Duchesne was arraigned in city court, and he's in the Albany County Jail without bail tonight. A former Rensselaer County executive, Henry Zwack's voice is heard today in court in secretly taped conversations. During Christina Mahoney's 3rd day on the stand, the tapes reveal Zwack urging Mahoney to allow the grandson of North Greenbush Democratic Chairman James Germano to pass a police exam that he had failed once before. In exchange, Germano allegedly pledged to throw his political support behind Zwack in the 1997 election. Well, there's no deal in the case of a 5-year-old Wilton girl who wants to say grace at school, meaning that the case will go to trial. A federal judge in Utica today issued a preliminary injunction to allow Kayla Brodus to continue saying grace at Dorothy Nolan Elementary School, at least for the time being. The school district says that Kayla can pray before meals, just so long as it does not disrupt class. Her lawyers are asking the district to set a policy on the matter, and that next hearing is set for June. Another suicide bombing today in the Middle East, postponing U.S. Secretary of State Colin Powell's meeting with Yasser Arafat. And as Lisa Sylvester reports now, the White House is again calling on Arafat to denounce terrorism.
A female suicide bomber blew herself up near a crowded outdoor market in
killing at least 6 people, injuring dozens, and immediately throwing into jeopardy Colin Powell's peace mission.
Today would be a particularly apt day for Yasser Arafat to publicly express himself in denunciation of this terrorist attack and to show leadership.
The White House strongly condemned the latest assault, calling it not a suicide, but a homicide bombing. Before the marketplace attack, the Secretary of State met with Israeli Prime Minister Ariel Sharon for 4 hours, trying to get him to commit to a timetable for withdrawing the Israeli military from the Palestinian-occupied areas.
We understand that Israel is under threat from terrorist attack, and we have been supportive. But at the same time, we believe, as a friend of Israel, we have to take note of the long-term strategic consequences of the incursions that are underway and its effect on other nations in the region and the international climate.
Sharon refused to accept a deadline.
Israel is waging a war against the infrastructure of Palestinian terrorism, and Israel hopes to conclude this war very soon.
But the war only shows signs of widening. Powell toured an Israeli army command center in the north, where Hezbollah guerrillas, supported by Syria, have stepped up their offensive, trying to create a second war front. Late this afternoon, according to the Palestinian Authority, Powell postponed a meeting with Arafat that was scheduled for tomorrow. That meeting has now been put off at least until Sunday. Lisa Sylvester, ABC News, Washington.
Fire investigators in the city of Albany trying to find out what caused an Albany apartment building to go up in flames. About 5 o'clock this morning, flames broke out at 606 Madison Avenue, forcing at least a dozen people into the street and collapsing part of the roof. The fire spread to 604 and 602 Madison, doing only minor damage. All the residents got out unharmed, but 2 cats and a dog did not make it. Lottery machines in 7 states are heating up pretty good right about now, spewing out chances at a $220 million jackpot in the big game. It's one of the largest jackpots in U.S. history, and it's on the line tonight. Plenty of people in Massachusetts are buying up tickets, dreaming of what they might do with all of that cash. Coming up, Steve Caporizzo takes a look at our weekend forecast in the Storm Tracker forecast, plus much, much more from the 3rd Annual Healthy Lifestyles Expo at Hudson Valley Community College.
News 10, winner of the New York State Broadcasters Excellence in Broadcasting Award for outstanding coverage of breaking news. John McLoughlin, Tracy Egan, Chief Meteorologist Steve Caporizzo. You're watching News 10 at 5.
And Steve Caporizzo is live tonight at Hudson Valley Community College for the 3rd Annual Healthy Lifestyles Expo. Steve.
Hey, John, thank you very much. It's been a great day. It's been wonderful to meet so many great people. We're at the Healthy Pet Center. We have all kinds of pet connection things going on. And we have our good friend, Dr. Ken Rotundo. Doc, wave to the camera from the Animal Health Center in Clifton Park. If you have health issues with your pet, have questions about dogs or cats, he's the expert to talk to. We also have the American Red Cross here with pet first aid, pet CPR, the Heimlich maneuver for pets. There's booklets, all kinds of information. We have the Greyhounds here as well. And all these folks here, this has been a great group. I mean, they've all been popular. Let's face it, the dogs are always more popular than the people. We have the guiding dogs for the blind. We have therapy dogs. Every size, shape, and color. They have been absolutely fantastic. We also have the Mohawk Hudson River Humane Society in Pepper Tree Rescue as well. Now, there have been a couple of cats here that have been adopted. You can see one that's sound asleep here. And on the far right-hand side, we have the Pet Connection set up. And I want to show you something because I'm going to ask my news director, Rob Puglisi. Rob, come on out here. He doesn't know I'm doing this. Rob, can you hold that up for me? I mention this because these are our leftover Pet Connection shirts from 2 years ago. Remember our 10th anniversary fundraiser? We sold them for $30. We're clearing house. We want to get rid of all these. All the money goes to the animals for $10.
And you'll be here all day tomorrow.
And I'll be here all day tomorrow. Is that?
And we'll have these shirts all day tomorrow.
And when they're sold out, folks,
no more.
That's it. So the Pet Connection shirts, $10. The animals will be here. Veterinarians will be here. We have our good friends from Jeep, a long time, or actually a new sponsor of Pet Connection as well. We have Puppy Pet, the magnetic therapy for dogs and cats, right? For arthritis. And we have invisible fencing. If you're into pets, you have any pet information or questions that you need, this is the place to be. All right, now it's time for the weather. Hope you enjoyed today's weather. The weekend not so good. 8 p.m. tonight, high clouds and 61. Midnight cloudy and 57. 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, cloudy and 54. Interesting today with the south wind, it was actually a sea breeze and the temperatures never warmed up a great deal. Here's the sky cam, temperature right now at 63 with that wind gusting to 30 miles per hour, acting as a sea breeze today. So it did not make it quite to 70. Let's check the 5 o'clock temperatures. Notice Poughkeepsie, 53. It's warmer up at Glens Falls, farther away from the ocean, 66. You can see 70 up at Messina. You head towards the ocean, New York City at 56. Again, that's a sea breeze that came right up the Hudson. 72 at Syracuse and 72 at Rochester. All right, let's bring you up to date on what's happening. Watch the clouds increasing. And under those clouds, as you would expect, a little bit in the way of wet weather. We have a few showers in parts of the lower Hudson Valley, if we switch over to radar. And a band of a little more significant showers out to the west of us, west of Buffalo. So the old squeeze play, it looks like most of these showers, at least the ones to the south, will stay south. The ones to the west are going to be here by tomorrow morning. So as we told you, tomorrow's going to be a wet day. The showers breaking out during the morning. That front is not going to move a great deal. So that will be the focus for showers and rain. We could actually have some heavier downpours tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow night. It will probably last into Sunday morning. All right, let's recap the forecast for you. 55 to 60, a gusty wind this evening. The high today, by the way, 68 degrees. Tonight, cloudy, mild. Could be a shower by morning, 48 to 53. And for tomorrow, showers. There could be some heavier rain during the afternoon. High 63 to 68. And your 5-day forecast on Sunday, some morning showers, 67. Check out next week. It may feel like summer here. 71 on Monday, 75 Tuesday, and Wednesday, 78, partly to mostly sunny. So a big change in the weather pattern again. Spring has sprung. It will be around into at least the middle of next week. We, of course, will have much more live from Hudson Valley Community College coming up at 5:30. John, back to you.
Steve, you broke my heart with that forecast.
Isn't it nice for next week? Sorry about the weekend.
I know. Well, after the break, more from the Healthy Lifestyles Expo, including our hot seat guest from Columbia Memorial Hospital. But first, stocks chalk up a modest win as bargain hunters went to work following yesterday's massive sell-off. Here are the day's closing numbers. The Dow closing up about 15 points, and NASDAQ also ending the day up about 31 points.
The News 10 Stock Report is sponsored by Christopher's, the clothing store for men.
We're going to rejoin Tracy live at the Healthy Lifestyles Expo with tonight's hot seat guest. Tracy.
John, unbelievable the number of people here today asking for you to pay them a visit. Right now we're going to chat with Todd Traver. He's a registered nurse, and he's in charge of the transfusion-free surgery at Columbia Memorial Hospital. And earlier, I referred to it as bloodless surgery, but that's old-fashioned.
That's correct. As of today, we're kicking off our new name. It's Transfusion-Free Medicine and Surgery. And that's in response to some confusion that we had with bloodless as a term. We're actually following suit with our national association, who's also changed its name. We're hoping to clear this up for folks.
Well, explain. What's the difference between bloodless and transfusion-free?
Well, actually, it's the same exact thing. The goal with transfusion-free surgery is to perform surgical care that is geared towards minimizing the need for donor blood or to give transfusions. And the way that we do that is by utilizing techniques, state-of-the-art techniques, to help minimize blood loss in patients. The philosophy being that if patients don't lose blood, they won't need blood.
How many people have responded to this? And I'm curious as to how many do it for religious reasons and how many because of health concerns.
Sure. This year we treated just over 80 people, and we had a significant increase in the number of folks who sought us out for religious reasons. Basically, I went from 3 patients the first year to 21 patients last year. So about 25% of my patients last year were coming to our hospital because of religious reasons.
So there's a real need for it. I'm curious, every once in a while I'll be someplace where a doctor will see your commercial and they say, well, what do they mean by bloodless surgery? And there seems to be some kind of concern about that.
Correct. I think most of it's really an educational issue. It's just a matter of educating the medical staff at the other hospitals, just like we had to be educated. The bottom line is it's proven fact that to perform care without blood is just safer and better medicine. It reduces the risk of postoperative infection. It reduces the risk of an infectious disease being transmitted, through a contaminated transfusion. Faster healing times. It just proves to be a better approach to care.
Could you give me some examples of how you do that, how you do surgery and lose less blood?
Sure. One of the things that we've added to our arsenal of techniques is the cell saver machine. That's a machine that actually allows us to collect blood being lost by a patient in the operating room. It processes that blood and returns it to the patient. So in other words, we can collect it and clean it and return it to the patient during the operation. We also do some techniques such as minimal sampling technique, which is the use of smaller blood sampling tubes for testing, dramatically decrease the number of tests we draw in our patients. We use a technique called hemodilution, which is basically diluting what's left in the blood in the circulatory system, so when patients bleed during surgery, they lose less red blood cells. And everything is geared towards minimizing blood loss.
I'm curious as to whether this is also appealing to parents whose children have to undergo surgery.
Well, children become a little bit tricky in that New York state law states that if a child needs a transfusion, we must give it. But yes, this can be utilized in children as well, especially of important our Jehovah's Witness community, who because of their religious beliefs would rather not have their children transfused.
You're in Columbia County. Where do your patients come from?
Well, most of the patients come from the Columbia Green and Northern Dutchess County areas. Of course, we're always open to take patients from any other area who would be interested in the transfusion-free services.
And finally, are other hospitals asking questions now about how you're doing it and how it's working?
Well, interestingly enough, I did get quite a few calls in the last year from some of the doctors in the other areas asking about it. But just recently, the Department of Health has released some information to hospitals stating that because of anticipated blood shortages, all hospitals need to begin looking at ways to conserve blood. So I think I'm going to be receiving a lot more calls.
All right. Thank you very much for sharing this information with us, Todd Traver, head of the transfusion-free surgery at Columbia Memorial Hospital. We'll be back with more from the Healthy Lifestyles Expo right after this. Hi, it's Tracy Egan back at the WTEN Healthy Lifestyles Expo at Hudson Valley Community College. We're here until 6 tonight, but we want to see a lot of you here tomorrow when we'll be here all day from 10 to 6. Let's take a look at some of what you'll find when you get here. First of all, this is CDPHP's outdoor camp for kids, Camp Good Health. You can learn about, get tips from the YMCA on picking a camp for your kids. Here you can get a face massage and relax and take a 10-minute break out of your day. And also come and meet the people from WTEN. Here's Steve Caporizzo talking with some school kids and showing them how the weather system works. For a $5 donation to Pet Connection, sit with Elisa Streeter, one of the other news anchors. And also, your kids will like getting their faces painted here. And for those grown-ups whose faces have seen need a little more paint, check in with Dr. Edwin Williams. He's got this computer technology that can show you what your face might look like after you get some plastic surgery done. In fact, coming up on News 10 at 5:30, we're going to talk with Dr. Williams about a new kind of facelift that he does, as well as the use of Botox, which you've probably heard about. A lot of the Hollywood stars use that so that they won't have frown lines or wrinkles in their faces. Beyond that, we have all kinds of things here from, blood screening, cholesterol screening, to things that are fun for the kids to do. We have a bridal fashion show that was very popular. The chairs were all filled, and all day long we have cooking demonstrations from the Honest Weight Food Co-op to local restaurants. They show you how to make great tasting dishes. They show you directly how to prepare them. They have cards prepared so that you can go home with the recipes, and of course you get to sample what they've made, all aimed at helping you make better food, healthier food for your families. In fact, Honest Weight Food Co-op also has organic food for your table and for your pet. And of course, Pet Connection is just down the way here, and we'll be checking with Steve Caporizzo later on again during News 10 at 5:30 and 6. Back to you, John.
Tracy, I'd stop over, but they've got security guards who are told to turn me away.
They'll frisk you.
I'm only kidding. It looks like a lot of fun.
I told you, there are people over here. You tell people the kind of booth you wanted to host over here.
Okay, thank you.
You're not going to tell them?
No, I won't.
Okay.
It looks like a lot of fun, though. We'll be right back.
News 10 is sponsored by your local Hyundai dealer.
Now here's Elisa Streeter and Terry McSweeney with a look at what's coming up on News 10.
Thank you, John. A woman takes police on a wild chase with a baby on her lap. The incredible outcome on News 10 at 5:30.
And just days before tax deadline, investigators crack down on those who've crossed the line with bogus returns. You won't believe what some people thought they could get away with. But you can find out tonight at 6.
Now back to John McLoughlin.
Thank you, Elisa. Mr. MOS will be returning on Monday, and you still have time to head over to that Healthy Lifestyles Expo at HVCC to check out all the great stuff Tracy and Steve have been telling us about tonight. That is our news for tonight. Remember to report a news story. Call 1-800-888-WTEN. Now here's Elisa Streeter with News 10 at 5:30.
First with the news, on air and online, Elisa Streeter. Chief Meteorologist Steve Caporizzo. This is News 10 at 5:30.
The little girl who invited God into her classroom has her day in a federal courtroom. Good evening, everyone. I'm Elisa Streeter. For now, Kayla Broadus can continue saying grace in her Saratoga County classroom. And even though there was a decision involving the girl's case today, there is still no settlement, which means the two sides are headed to trial. News 10's Dan Levy has more from Utica.
Back in January, when 5-year-old kindergartner Kayla Broadus was saying grace at the Dorothy Nolan Elementary School before eating a snack, her teacher told her she couldn't do it. When the school district subsequently told her family that Kayla could pray silently, that's when they hired attorney Tom Marcel, who filed a lawsuit claiming Kayla's First Amendment rights were being violated. The district maintains that there isn't now and there never has been a policy prohibiting non-disruptive audible prayer.
Well, they said it today, but they haven't said it in the past, and that's why this lawsuit, as the judge said, just because they said they won't do it doesn't mean they won't, and that's why we need a court order.
For now, a court-ordered preliminary injunction will allow Kayla to continue saying grace.
And so now the issue becomes whether or not it's prudent and practical for the school district to write down rules and guidelines pertaining to school prayer. By listening to the school district's lawyer, at least now, that possibility doesn't seem very likely.
It's virtually impossible and problematic on a number of fronts to try and articulate ahead of time the different facts, the different ways, the different times, the different places in which audible prayer will be permitted or whether it will be problematic.
So what do you do now? Do you wait to see if the district does indeed put some sort of down in writing?
Yes, I mean, we'd be happy. The first thing we'll try to do is certainly reach out to the school district's attorney and see if, again, we can sit down and talk settlement and reach a conclusion like that to terminate the lawsuit.
I think if the position that Mr. Marcel has maintained to date doesn't change, then we're probably going to go to trial.
And so tonight, the two sides appear to be on a continued courtroom collision course. Reporting to you from Utica, Dan Levy, News 10.
Well, getting healthy was tops in a lot of people's minds today. They have been visiting the Healthy Lifestyles Expo at Hudson Valley Community College. And it's not just about the newest medicines or the latest nutrition. Joining us now is Tracy Egan with a unique aspect of the expo. Hi, Tracy.
Hi, Lisa. We're hoping people will want to enter to win that great Perfect 10 wedding. And Lisa Light, she's a bridal planner, is going to tell you